Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Looking at a hot afternoon, temperatures will climb into the low to mid 90s. I'll show you when our cold front comes along to bring us rain and cooler temperatures.
VP in North Carolina, J.D. Vance will visit our state today to talk about public safety. What we're expecting from him a day after state lawmakers passed Arena's law.
Grand opening, the largest biopharmaceutical facility in our state, opening today in Wake County. Our leaders say this will be a big boost for local businesses. So glad you're with us here in the 8 o'clock hour. Thanks for being with us. I'm Ken Smith.
And I'm Renee Chu. A beautiful sunrise and sky behind us in Southern Pines. Other parts of the area looking cloudy. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. It's also feeling very muggy out there.
You're going to notice the difference this morning. We have our flow now coming out of the south, and so that's bringing some tropical feeling moisture in already. It is gray here in Goldsboro because we're looking at, of course, that low cloud cover developing because our dew point is so high. Yesterday, our dew point was upper 50s, which feels comfortable. Today, that 69 just feels like summer. 70 is our temperature around the triangle right now. In Rocky Mount, visibility is below a quarter of a mile. Quarter of a mile is kind of that standard that we expect if there's fog out there. We're seeing that in Fayetteville and Clinton, and then half a mile in Goldsboro. Everybody else seeing fairly clear skies this morning. 68 South Hill, 69 Fayetteville, 70 in Goldsboro and in Southern Pines. It's a quick warm up. We'll hit 90 degrees by 1 o'clock this afternoon, and while it will hit 93, it'll feel hotter than that with all the moisture around. A cold front rolls in tomorrow. Ahead of that front, we may see some storms that produce some severe weather, and then we turn to some heavy rain. I'll show you how much we could see coming up. Ken?
That's been happening now at the WRAL Traffic Center. Boy, we're seeing those foggy conditions to the east of Raleigh this morning. There's that live look at I-87 and Smithfield Road. You can barely make out those southbound lanes coming toward us. You just see some headlights and not even the traffic that's going in those eastbound lanes. We're also seeing those foggy conditions, low-hanging clouds as well around the Zebulon area as you look live at I-87 and Arundel Avenue, although traffic is moving nicely in both directions. So still, though, you might want to give yourself some extra time, particularly if you're coming into the capital city from the east. Listen, we've gotten a lot of situation happening around the Beltline this morning, the southern loop of the Beltline as well as the northern loop of the Beltline. I know many of you use I-540 as an alternate route. There's some delays there as well, but once you get past Creedmoor Road on I-540, it's clear sailing all the way through. We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown on I-885 going into Durham this morning, starting around TW Alexander Drive. So either way this morning, give yourself some extra time because of those foggy conditions, particularly to the east of Raleigh. 101.5 HD3, that's where you can find us when you get into your car.
2 people were hurt in a crash this morning in Raleigh. You're looking at video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. This was on New Hope Road near Skycrest Drive around 3:30 in the morning. The traffic lights were out there for about 2 hours. We saw one smashed up car. We've reached out to find out how this crash happened. Breaking overnight, a motorcycle crashed in Johnston County this morning after a chase involving a deputy. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker captured this video on Mount Pleasant Road just outside Willow Spring. Deputies confirmed the motorcycle was the only vehicle involved. We are trying to learn why the chase started and whether anyone was hurt. This morning, there will be extra law enforcement at Grace Creek High School in Cumberland County because of a reported threat. Cumberland County Schools says the extra security and safety measures are out of an abundance of caution. Law enforcement has not confirmed the threat as credible. The sheriff's office says the threat was circulating on social media last night. Detectives are working with school leaders to investigate. They're asking anyone with information about this supposed threat to call the sheriff's office.
New this morning, a suspect was taken into custody after a barricade situation in Granville County. The sheriff's office says this happened on Mineral Springs Drive in STEM. When deputies arrived just after 10 last night, they found a woman outside the home. We're told that she was hurt by debris from a ricocheting bullet fired. The sheriff's office says the suspect, Mike Jones, was taken into custody. Deputies say he and that woman were in a relationship. Vice President J.D. Vance will be in our state today. The vice president will be near Charlotte, where he's expected to talk about public safety. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey live outside the state legislative building this morning. And Kelsey, the vice president's visit comes after state lawmakers passed a law in response to the deadly stabbing there in Charlotte.
Yes, Ken, it does. We're just hours away from Vice President J.D. Vance speaking in Concord. Now, he's expected to talk about public safety, which was a huge topic of conversation this week here in the legislative building among state lawmakers. The last time VP Vance was in North Carolina was in December after Hurricane Helene. Today's speech on public safety comes just one day after state lawmakers passed Arena's Law. Arena Zaruska was stabbed to death on a train in Charlotte last month. The legislation makes it easier for judges to keep suspects in jail or put them in the hospital if they have a history of criminal behavior or mental illness. The bill was fairly bipartisan until a late amendment aimed at bringing back the death penalty. Right now, lethal injection is the only legal method of execution in North Carolina, but it has not been used since 2006. We'll be sure to keep you updated on whether Governor Josh Stein signs this bill, vetoes it, or lets it become law without his signature. We'll have a crew in Concord for the vice president's visit. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Of course, WRAL's Monica Casey will be in Concord for the vice president's speech. We will have live coverage of his visit in our evening newscasts starting at 4.
Looking ahead, former U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg will visit Duke University tomorrow. He'll be speaking on campus at the Sanford School of Public Policy. The event is called Pathways Forward, the Road to a New America. Tickets are only available to Duke students and staff. He'll speak at 5 p.m. Buttigieg visited our state several times last year to promote the Biden administration's infrastructure investments.
The people in charge of recovery efforts in western North Carolina are meeting with state lawmakers in Raleigh today. Members of the governor's recovery office for western North Carolina will give legislators a breakdown of Hurricane Helene recovery funding and push for more. North Carolina has requested federal funds that would cover almost half of the estimated $60 billion in damages, but less than 10% of that money has been awarded or received so far. We're expected to get a new breakdown of Governor Stein's new request for $13.5 billion from the federal government. Now, for updates on this story, just go to our website, WRAL.com. North Carolina lawmakers have agreed to pass a smaller spending plan. The state house passed a bill that would spend millions for disaster relief, including Chantal, infrastructure around the Lenovo Center, and other economic development projects. It now goes to Governor Stein's desk.
Today in Wake County, a new biopharmaceutical facility opens in Holly Springs. That's where we find Allie Kadlubar this morning. And Allie, the mayor spoke about the excitement for this Fujifilm facility.
Yeah, and you can hear that excitement out here. We've seen busloads of people come up here getting ready to come to this event here, the grand opening. You can see signage as well as balloons set up. I mean, it's been 4 years in the making, and it's brought more than 600 jobs to this area. Here's a look of, here's brand new Drone 5 video of this site. You can see it. It's 160,000 square feet. It's considered the largest of its kind in North America. This facility will provide services for companies to create and manufacture products like vaccines. And that's why Johnson & Johnson is investing $2 billion over 10 years at this site. Now, Holly Springs mayor says its development is causing residents to invest in the surrounding areas.
I'm more excited about what it brings for our residents. You got coffee shops, you got little mom and pop sushi restaurants. They're all local folks that are taking a chance on their dream and their investment. And again, I don't know that would actually happen without Fujifilm.
Now, that grand opening ceremony, it's today at 10 a.m. We just saw a WRAL crew walk in there. They're going to be getting a tour and giving you an inside look of this facility in later newscasts. Reporting live in Holly Springs, Allie Kadlubar, WRAL News.
A man is dead after being hit by an Amtrak train in Durham. This happened yesterday evening, just after 5:30. Police say the man was walking in the train's path. The engineer blew the horn, but the man did not stop. Police say he was wearing headphones. 2 intersections were closed during the investigation. They have since reopened. This is the 4th time someone has been hit by a train in Durham just this year alone. Our reporting from last year found at least 19 crashes in the last 25 years. Links to our previous reporting and the push for solutions from leaders can be found on this story on WRAL.com.
2 families in our area are suing the popular apps Roblox and Discord. They claim their children were victims of sex crimes on those platforms. Roblox is a popular video game. Discord is a social networking platform. Families across the country have filed lawsuits against the companies. Attorney Martin Gould represents the Wake County family. He says Roblox missed parents into thinking it was a safe platform for children.
Parents had no clue that their 10, 12, 13-year-old was allowed to talk to adults, that these adults were allowed to give money to their children.
Well, the lawsuits are still in the early stages.
Happening tonight, the Carolina Hurricanes are hosting the Florida Panthers in their 2nd preseason game of the year. Tonight is also the Canes Community Benefit Game, and that means all ticket revenue goes to local nonprofits and community organizations.
Duke-Aetna battle. Time is running out for the 2 sides to reach a deal where the hospital system and healthcare provider can't seem to agree.
Looking out for snakes. A woman bitten by a copperhead while walking on a trail. Why it's especially important this time of year to pay close attention when you're outside.
And heading outside, you may run into fog in a few places, especially from Rocky Mount and Wilson through Goldsboro, Clinton, and Fayetteville. We'll talk about when that fog will dissipate and how hot it gets this afternoon coming up. .14, starting to see the fog dissipate just a little bit. A much clearer view. You can now see the trees back here as we take a look past the Whirligig Park in downtown Wilson. So starting to see some improvement there. It is going to remain steamy all day long. Yesterday we were closer to comfy, and so we've taken it up a couple of notches to steamy and almost tropical. You'll notice it just feels like summer out there right now. It's 69 in Garner, 70 in Durham, 67 in Holly Springs, 70 there in Rocky Mount and Wilson. So after school practices, right after school at around 3 o'clock, 93 degrees, but it will probably feel more like the upper 90s. You know, we don't typically have to worry about that toward the end of September, but today it could be an issue. By 5 and 6 o'clock, temperatures are in the mid to upper 80s, still going to be warm, especially with the muggy conditions.
That's what's happening now in the WRAL traffic conditions. We're seeing those foggy conditions on I-87 in those southbound lanes near Smithfield Road. The southbound lanes, you can barely make out those headlights coming toward us. And you can't even see the eastbound lanes heading away from us. Once you get off I-87, you get onto those westbound lanes of I-440 this morning, you're looking at an 11-minute delay from that I-87 Beltline interchange all the way over to Wade Avenue. So keep that in mind as you're about to head out. As far as other routes coming into the capital city, our main troubled spot this morning is Fins and Wake Forest. You're looking at an 8-minute delay coming into the capital city.
Thanks, Ken. Drone video from California shows the damage left behind from a mudslide. This happened in San Bernardino. Rain from Tropical Storm Mario caused a mudslide on hills that were already damaged by burn scars. You can see chunks of road just washed away, parts of the area completely wiped out. Dozens of cars were stranded for hours. Amazingly, nobody was hurt. North Carolina is preparing for Aetna to drop Duke Health from the state health plan. The 2 sides have been unable to reach a deal over a reimbursement increase. The state health plan switched to Aetna this year. State Treasurer Brad Briner says only about 3% of state employees use Duke Health. The state is coming up with plans for what to do if Aetna and Duke do not reach an agreement by October 20th.
Duke is a nonprofit hospital who made over $600 million in profits last year. They also hold well over $4 billion in investments, which are the accumulation of their profits from prior years. So Duke is more than fine with our existing rates, yet wants to play chicken with our members. This is not the kind of partner we need.
Duke Health says the increase it is asking for is modest, and it says it has not had an increase in reimbursements for 4 years now. The Triangle's big universities rank near the top of the country again. The annual U.S. News and World Report came out for best schools in the country. Take a look. Duke ranked number 7th in the country. UNC came in at 26th, and NC State finished at 64th. So let's zero in on UNC's ranking. It was 4th among all public schools. The report also found the school offers the best value of any public school in the country. UNC has been in the top 5 for public schools for almost 25 straight years.
The Museum of History in Durham is getting a jolt from the city and county. They're giving the museum more than $250,000 to keep the site running. The museum has run into money problems in recent years. 2 branches of the Durham County Library expanded its hours. The Bragtown Branch Library is now open Monday through Friday from 10 to 6. The main library campus will start having Sunday hours at the beginning of next month. People can stop between 1 in the afternoon and 6 p.m. The expanded hours take effect October 5th.
The man accused of trying to kill President Donald Trump is facing life in prison. A jury convicted Ryan Ruth on all 5 charges. Ruth was found hiding on Trump's Florida golf course last year. He was accused and convicted of assaulting the Secret Service agent who found him, as well as attempted assassination. Now, there was a dramatic moment in the courtroom where Ruth attempted to stab himself with a pen after the verdict. Officers stopped him before he hurt himself.
A Fayetteville mom is recovering this morning after being bitten by a copperhead snake. Melinda Hart says it happened on the Cape Fear River Trail while walking with her infant son and dog Monday. She looked down at her phone before feeling a sharp pain on her foot seconds later. Unable to move far, she snapped a photo of the venomous snake after calling 911. Biologists warn that September to early October is baby copperhead season. That means more encounters could happen. Hart is on bed rest while she recovers.
Hurricane Helene was North Carolina's most damaging storm, and this Friday marks 1 year since the storm hit. Some towns say Washington has failed them. Helene caused catastrophic flooding and mudslides, damaging more than 185,000 homes and killing 108 people. WRAL is looking back on the storm in a new documentary, asking why federal disaster relief has been slow to come.
What has been the biggest challenge over this last year?
Really the cumbersomeness of the government.
Just waiting on FEMA.
Waiting on that money, yeah. It's money that many of the projects, the money's, yes, you can have it. Where is it?
These delays have real-world consequences.
WRAL documentary investigator Kristen Severance will join us for a live interview at 9 a.m. on Fox 50 to talk about this impactful project. Helene, What We Lost, What We Found is sponsored by the Triangle Community Foundation. It airs tomorrow on WRAL at 7:30. You can also stream it on WRAL's YouTube channel. Today, we will be rain-free, but take a look at just some of the beautiful colors in the sky right now. Ooh, look at that view, Elizabeth. But on the ground, it's quite sticky.
Yeah, it is beautiful, isn't it? That blue sky, some high, thin clouds. And then right here on the foreground, we have this deck of low clouds. And we were watching a lot of that in eastern and southern parts of the viewing area. Of course, as you look over toward Garner and Raleigh, we're seeing mainly clear skies. So it's been interesting to sort of see how things have developed across our area this morning. Expect to see increasing sunshine across the areas that had some cloud cover this morning. And then we may cloud up again later on today. We're going to move it ahead to Thursday. Not expecting any rain today, but notice by Thursday afternoon and into the evening in particular, we begin to see some rain starting to show up. It is likely to be a fairly wet weekend. A cold front moves in on Friday and stalls here near the coast. We'll see a jet stream helping to push a lot of tropical moisture in. Some of that tropical moisture could come from 2 different tropical systems that are sitting to our south right now. And we're going to go over what that looks like coming up in just a minute. But we take a look at our front on Friday. We're looking at that moving in across our area. And that, of course, will help to bring us that potential for some rain. This is Thursday morning, watching that front move through with a chance of some afternoon and evening storms. That front may stall over us then with some rain early Friday and then redeveloping into the afternoon with a chance of thunderstorms and the potential for some heavy rain. What's happening here back to our west is a low pressure system, and it may just sit there and also help to to aid the flow of moisture into our area all weekend. This is Saturday at 5 o'clock. Look at all that rain. And then Sunday morning, still a little wet. And then Sunday afternoon, we're back into more rain. It could continue all the way into Monday and Tuesday. But where those two tropical systems end up will have a lot to do with how much we end up seeing. Level 1 risk for severe storms on Thursday, wind damage being the biggest threat. Friday looks like the day that we could have the steadiest, heaviest rain, but it could continue Saturday and Sunday as well, giving it a 50% chance at that point. How much rain? We're looking at easily 2 to 3 inches of rain. We may see that number go up depending on where those tropical systems end up. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we do have a low risk for flooding. And of course, but before then, it's hot for us. Highs in the low 90s. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL traffic city. We want to keep our viewers abreast of what's happening there with the foggy conditions to the east of Raleigh, particularly around Knightdale. You're looking at I-87 and Smithfield Road. You can barely make out those southbound lanes coming toward us. And once you get off I-87, you take those westbound lanes on the belt line, you're looking at a 12-minute delay between the I-440, I-87 interchange to Wade Avenue. So that 12 minutes could make or break you in terms of getting to your destination on time. That southern loop of the belt line, you're looking at a 5-minute delay. So if you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, you don't have any delays getting to the belt line, you might want to take the southern loop of the belt line just to be on the safe side. We're also seeing those foggy conditions in the Zebulon area as well.
Thanks, Ken. 8:23, a man is suing Highway Patrol. He says a trooper punched him after he had a seizure. What we know about where the lawsuit stands. And time is running out to save thousands of dollars on energy upgrades to your home. 5 on your side breaks down what you need to do to cash in.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
It is 8:26. I'm Renee Chu. A beautiful start to our Wednesday, but it's going to feel like summer for sure, not just in terms of temperatures, but also the humidity. Let's get to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner.
Yeah, so we're looking at 70 degrees for Wilson right now, as well as Durham and Fayetteville. We did have some fog in Wilson earlier. That's starting to lift a little bit. Still some lingering cloud cover there, and some clouds on and off in places. We'll see partly cloudy skies through the afternoon. It's really going to warm up for us by lunchtime, hitting 90, 93 this afternoon. And with an uptick in our humidity today, it could feel like upper 90s in some places. If you're walking the dog this evening, it's still going to be pretty warm in the mid to upper 80s. But a front comes in tomorrow to help bring us some much needed rain and cool off our temperatures. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, you mentioned those foggy conditions, but still seeing it here on I-87 in those southbound lanes at Smithfield Road. You can barely make out the southbound lanes coming toward us. You can almost not see the eastbound traffic moving away from us. And once you get off those I-87 southbound lanes and you're taking that northern loop of the belt line, you're looking at a 12-minute delay between that 87 belt line interchange all the way over to Wade Avenue. So keep that in mind. If you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, you might want to take the southern loop of the belt line because you're only looking at a 5-minute delay. And of course, when you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, no delays whatsoever.
Thanks, Ken. Today, Vice President J.D. Vance is visiting North Carolina. His visit comes one day after state lawmakers passed sweeping new crime legislation. Vance is expected to discuss public safety. He will be speaking in the city of Concord, which is northeast of Charlotte. He plans to give his remarks around 2:30. This morning, 2 people are hurt after a crash in Raleigh. This is from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. It happened on New Hope Road near Skycrest Drive around 3:30 a.m. The traffic lights were out for about 2 hours. More news on.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
It's a hot one, way hotter than normal for this time of year. Plus, we've added more humidity since yesterday. I'll show you how hot it feels this afternoon and when a cold front brings us a break.
Also, focus on public safety. Vice President J.D. Vance will visit North Carolina today. What he's expected to say after state lawmakers passed a sweeping new crime bill.
And grand opening. A biopharmaceutical facility opens today in Wake County, set to be the largest in the state. How the facility is helping to shape the future of healthcare. Good morning, everyone. It is 8:30, and weather-wise, in our immediate future, it is going to be hot and sticky, and it's really going to feel like summer. Thanks for joining us. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Ken Smith, and eventually we'll have to pull out the rain gear. Eventually.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, let's get back over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center, tracking it all for us.
It looks nice in downtown Raleigh as we take a look at the view from the Jimmy V camera down Fayetteville Street. But when you step outside, you'll notice it doesn't feel even like yesterday. Yesterday was a hot day at 92, but our humidity was lower. Our humidity is up. The temperature is up. It's 69, which is a very summer-like feel for the atmosphere, and 70 is our temperature. Right now, we're also looking at just a little bit of lingering fog. Clinton showing up at quarter-mile visibility, half a mile in Goldsboro and Rocky Mount. So you could run into some low cloud cover and fog in some of our eastern counties, but that is starting to dissipate. Temperatures for the most part are in the low 70s. We do climb to 90 by 1 o'clock and 93 our high mid-afternoon. It's probably going to feel hotter than that in the upper 90s. And then a cold front arrives late on Thursday. That's going to bring us a good chance for some thunderstorms, especially Thursday night and into Friday, some heavy rain, and the potential even for some severe weather. We'll talk more about what to expect from this, Ken.
And Elizabeth, happening now, those foggy conditions still hanging around to the east of Raleigh, just in the Nightdale area. As you look live at I-87 and Smithfield Road, you can barely make out the southbound lanes coming toward us. You're beginning to see the traffic in those eastbound lanes barely. But once you get off of I-87 and get onto those westbound lanes of the Beltline this morning, you're looking at a 12-minute delay between that 87, 440 interchange all the way over to Wade Avenue. So you might want to give yourself some extra time this morning. And if you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, getting to the Beltline is not going to be a problem, just a 4-minute delay. So depending on where you're headed this morning, you might want to take that southern loop of the Beltline. We're also seeing that the foggy conditions begin to lift just a bit in the Zebulon area as we look live at I-87, Highway 64, those west and eastbound lanes moving along rather nicely. In terms of other major routes coming into the capital city, here's what we're looking at. You're looking at an 8-minute delay if you're coming in from Wake Forest this morning. You got a 6-minute delay coming in US 1 north out of Apex, and just a 4-minute delay on I-885 coming in on I-40 eastbound. Over in Durham, we're seeing very little to no delays heading to Durham this morning, but still, if you're in Wake Forest, you're coming in on Highway 98, you're looking at an 11-minute delay. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
A busy time on the roads. Ken, thank you. 2 people are hurt after a crash in Raleigh this morning. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker on New Hope Road near Skycrest Drive around 3:30 in the morning. Utility crews needed to fix the traffic light after the crash. The lights were out for about 2 hours. We have reached out for more information about how this crash happened.
Firefighters, EMS, and deputies were at the scene of a crash in Johnston County this morning. The WRAL breaking news tracker captured this video on Mount Pleasant Road just outside Willow Spring. Deputies confirmed a motorcycle was involved. We are also still trying to learn more about what led up to that crash.
This morning, there will be extra law enforcement at Grays Creek High School in Cumberland County because of a reported threat. Cumberland County school leaders say the extra security and safety measures are out of an abundance of caution. Law enforcement has not yet confirmed the threat. The sheriff's office says it was circulating on social media last night. Detectives are working with school administrators to investigate. They are asking anyone with information about the reported threat to call the sheriff's office.
Well, looking ahead, later today, Vice President J.D. Vance visiting our state, as we've been reporting. He's expected to focus on public safety as he speaks in Concord, that's near Charlotte. As WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains, Vance's visit comes one day after state lawmakers passed a sweeping new crime bill.
We're just hours away from Vice President J.D. Vance speaking in Concord today. He's expected to talk about public safety, which has been a huge topic of conversation for state lawmakers here at the legislative building. The last time VP Vance was in North Carolina was in December after Hurricane Helene. Today's speech on public safety comes just one day after state lawmakers passed Arena's Law. Arena Zaruska was stabbed to death on a train in Charlotte last month. The legislation makes it easier for judges to keep suspects in jail or put them in the hospital if they have a history of criminal behavior or mental illness. The bill was fairly bipartisan until a late amendment aimed at bringing back the death penalty. Right now, lethal injection is the only legal method of execution in North Carolina, but it has not been used since 2006. We'll be sure to keep you updated on whether Governor Josh Stein signs this bill into law, vetoes it, or lets it become law without his signature. We'll have a crew in Concord for the vice president's visit. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And here on the WRAL Live Center, Monica Casey is in Concord already this morning for the vice president's visit. She sent in this photo here. She is there right now. You can see the setup, a lot of chairs there, a lot of police cars in the background with the podium there. Of course, again, Monica Casey is there right now. She will be there all day long covering this. We'll have live coverage of his visit in our evening newscast. That's starting at 4.
Michelle, thanks. Friday marks 1 year since the landfall of Hurricane Helene across the state. Leaders of the state's recovery efforts in western North Carolina go before lawmakers in Raleigh today. Members of the governor's recovery office for western North Carolina plan to give legislators a breakdown of Helene recovery funding and efforts to get more. The state has requested federal funds that would cover almost half of the estimated $60 billion in damage caused in the storm. But less than 10% of that money has been awarded or received, and that's despite months of public pressure on federal officials to release the money. Stein traveled to Washington this month to request $13.5 billion in additional funding from Congress. A new breakdown of that request is expected this morning. For updates on the hearing, go to WRAL.com. Today in Wake County, a new biopharmaceutical facility opens in Holly Springs. That's where we find Ali Kalubar this morning. And Ali, the mayor, talked about the excitement for the Fujifilm facility.
Yeah, we've been feeling that excitement all morning. I mean, we've seen busloads of people arrive here at the grand opening right behind me. There's even balloons set up. There's signage as well. All excitement for this facility that's been in the works for 4 years. And it's brought more than 600 jobs just to this local area. And take a look at this video from our Drone 5. You can see the facility. It's 160 square feet, 160,000 square feet. And it's considered the largest facility of its kind in North America. This facility will provide services for firms to create and manufacture products like vaccines. That's why Johnson & Johnson is investing $2 billion over 10 years at this site. Now, Holly Springs Mayor Sean Mayevsky says the town has worked for decades to bring companies like Fujifilm to the area.
Your councils, your mayors along the way all stayed the course, and they all believed in that ultimate dream of creating that life science environment that they would get, folks like the Fujis of the world. That's been our dream. We're excited to see those things come to fruition.
And it's coming to fruition today at 10 a.m. in just about an hour and a half. WRAL News is inside with a crew, and we're going to give you an inside look of this facility in our later newscasts. Reporting live in Holly Springs, Ali Kalubar, WRAL News.
Jimmy Kimmel is back on late night TV. He used his return last night to defend free speech. Last night's episode marked Kimmel's first time back on the air after nearly a week-long suspension. ABC's parent company, Disney, suspended Kimmel after he made comments in his show about Charlie Kirk's accused killer. He addressed his return in his monologue last night.
I don't think the murderer who shot Charlie Kirk represents anyone. This was a sick person who believed violence was a solution, and it isn't. Ever.
Disney says it lifted Kimmel's suspension after a thoughtful conversation. In a post on Truth Social, President Trump wrote, quote, "I can't believe ABC fake news gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back, I should say. Why would they want someone back who puts the network in jeopardy?" He also added, "We're going to test ABC out of this."
A North Carolina man is accusing a state trooper of punching him in the face and arresting him after he had a seizure. According to the lawsuit, Thomas Simmons crashed after he had a seizure. This was back in May near Greenville. When Sergeant Ashley Smith reached in to pull Simmons out of his car, Simmons pulled away. That's when the trooper allegedly said, "I'm going to hurt you, man." These 3 pictures included in the lawsuit show Smith then punching Simmons before dragging him across the ground. Now, the trooper also accused him of being on meth. The DA's office later dropped charges against Simmons of assaulting Trooper Smith.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, we are learning that a man in his 40s was arrested in England over an alleged cyber attack that disrupted several European airports, including London Heathrow. I was there. It was an absolute mess there. But officials say the suspect was held and released on conditional bail starting late Friday, lasting through the weekend. Airports in Berlin, Brussels, London, all hit by disruptions to electronic systems. Officials say, quote, although this arrest is a positive step, the investigation into this incident remains ongoing.
Still ahead, expiring tax credits. Time is running out to save thousands of dollars. The major tax credits that will expire at the end of this year and how you can take advantage of them.
Also, we'll meet this week's Teacher of the Week and let you know why superheroes are part of his lesson plan to help his students learn and thrive.
And we are going to get some summertime heat. This is a live look from Apex right now. We're expecting another day with temperatures in the 90s. It's going to feel even more muggy. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner explains the rain that we're expecting later this week that could finally cool us down.
$8:45, let's take a look at the tropics. We have an 80% chance of this system developing and a 90% chance of this one developing. So we may have some activity here that really starts to ramp up here in the next few days. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at the computer model plots here. This one that is moving near the Bahamas, of course, you take a look at the plots and they're awfully close to North Carolina. Even if this doesn't become a tropical system, it's going to feed some tropical moisture in for the weekend, bringing a good bit of rain. And we're going to see some potentially impressive rainfall totals. The one that's a little farther out in the Atlantic has a much lesser chance of affecting us and may end up turning northward. But we'll definitely be watching the one that's closer to us very carefully. Gabrielle, still a Category 3, but look where it's headed. This happens sometimes. It may bring some heavy rain and some blustery conditions to Portugal and Spain by the time we get to early next week. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We just want to keep you updated on this situation on I-87, the southbound lane near Smithfield Road. Those foggy and low-hanging clouds making visibility very limited this morning. So keep that in mind as you're about to head out, particularly if you're heading out from Nightdale. And once you get off those I-87 lanes onto those westbound lanes of the Beltline, you're looking at a 9-minute delay between the I-87, 440 interchange all the way over to Wade Avenue. I'll keep an eye on it, have an update in less than 10 minutes.
Ken, thanks. If you've been thinking about getting solar panels, now might be the time to do it. There was a change in the law, and now you only have a few months left to take advantage of the solar tax credit. 5 on your sides, Ashley Rowe explains what to do right now.
This tax credit can save you a lot of money. For example, it costs about $30,000 to install a typical system. The tax credit would reduce that expense to close to $20,000. To take advantage of the solar tax credit, you must buy and install the system before the end of 2025. Start by getting at least 3 bids from companies with good online reviews or that are recommended by your neighbors. Go local. Look for established companies in your area with expertise about the permitting process.
Once you find an installer you want to work with, ask them if they can have your system installed and up and running by the end of 2025 in order for you to get the credit.
After signing a contract, the installer will generally get the necessary permits and get approval from your utility company, install the panels, schedule inspections, and then, of course, get your utility company to connect your panels to the grid, all by December 31st to ensure you get the credit. Ashley Rowe, 5 on your side.
And like the residential solar tax credit, the energy efficient home improvement credit also expires on December 31st. So if you were thinking about installing Energy Star certified exterior windows and doors or upgrading your circuit panels and heat pumps, know those credits expire soon as well. A new look at a classic movie monster and a new addition to Scotty McCreery's family.
Well, let's take a look at what's trending this morning, of course. Let's start with actor Christian Bale taking on an iconic movie monster in The Bride. He will be playing Frankenstein's monster. The film is directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, and actress Jessie Buckley will play his companion. The movie will hit theaters next year. Christian Bale always takes on these really interesting roles, and here he goes again.
No kidding. Yeah, we know him as in American Psycho, and then he was Batman. All-star cast in that one too. Penelope Cruz, Annette Bening, and Jake Gyllenhaal is also in that movie, directed by his sister Maggie.
How cool is that?
Well, big news for Scotty McCreery. The country star and his wife Gabi have welcomed their second child. Oliver Cook McCreery was born September 18th. Look at him. They shared these photos on Instagram.
Scotty has been always saying that their 2-year-old has been trying to name that baby after his favorite treat, which is those Bo-Berry biscuits from Bojangles. My goodness, I wonder how that is going to work out.
I mean, Bo-Berry McCreery has a nice ring to it, I suppose, but Oliver is very cute.
Yeah, congratulations to them. Well, superheroes come in many forms, which brings us to our Teacher of the Week. We are at Highcroft Drive Elementary School to honor a teacher whose superheroes help his students learn and thrive.
After you have built your graph,
Jesse Page moves about his 5th grade classroom, fleet of foot, solving problems and answering questions.
Good job, Donovan.
Just like the prowess of his superheroes displayed in his classroom at Highcroft Drive Elementary School in Wake County. Of course, he has his favorites.
I typically say it's either Spider-Man or Thor. But I also really like Groot. He's one of my favorites as well.
These superheroes, though, while he's a fan, aren't just for show.
Each poster has one of the heroes on it, and then like a positive, encouraging, uplifting phrase like, try your best or be kind to others.
Page is a math and science teacher known for going above and beyond to help his students achieve academic success while making learning fun with a sprinkle of humor. Are you a dad jokes kind of teacher?
100%. 100%. I get called corny all the time, and I take that as a compliment. I love being able to connect with the children and share my interests and humor with them and just sort of develop those deep relationships and to make some impact.
Mr. Page, you are WRAL's Teacher of the Week. Give him a round of applause. Congratulations. Well, if you'd like to nominate a teacher, go to WRAL.com and search Teacher of the Week in the search box.
Friday marks the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Helene. And in western North Carolina, a community is remembering those lost in the storm. One way they're doing this, through a wishing wall at a fire and rescue station in Swannanoa. The wishing wall is covered in messages of unity. It was built by a group of local artists called Swannatopia, and it asks people to leave their remembrances, reflections, and good wishes for the future.
WRAL's documentary unit will be exploring the issues from Hurricane Helene in a brand new documentary, Helene, What We Lost, What We Found, sponsored by the Triangle Community Foundation. You can watch the doc tomorrow from 7:30 on WRAL and stream on WRAL.com, the WRAL News app, on your YouTube channel. Let's get over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner, and we're tracking more rain in the forecast later on this week, but it feels like summer still, even though it's fall.
It does. Today is going to feel the most like summer of all the days that we see this week. Yesterday we hit 92, but the humidity was on the lower side. Today 93, and that humidity is just like summer. Tomorrow 91, but late tomorrow our cold front comes in, and that's going to drop our temperature closer to normal for Friday and the weekend. But there's a trade-off. We will see a good bit of rain. We take a look at downtown Raleigh from our Jimmy V camera down toward Memorial Auditorium, looking at lots of sunshine. Our temperature 70, our dew point 69. So it does feel like the middle of July when you step out the door already this morning. We hit 90 at 1 o'clock this afternoon and keep on climbing to 93. This morning we had some patchy fog, especially along the I-95 corridor and around Fayetteville and Clinton. Visibility has started to increase pretty dramatically over the last 30 minutes to an hour. Our temperatures range from upper 60s to low 70s right now, and we'll zoom in around the triangle. 69 in Holly Springs and Apex, 70 in Knightdale, 69 in Rollsville. Around town, 93 in Raleigh, 92 Durham, 95 in Fayetteville. We're looking at 80 as our normal high, so this is way above normal. And then we're back to normal for the most part Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and into early next week. But we do hang on to the muggy feel because we're going to see a flow coming out of the south well into the weekend and early next week. So it's going to feel tropical for us. Here's why. Low pressure sitting here across the Mississippi Valley, rotating counterclockwise, is going to be dragging up all this tropical moisture. Plus, we have two systems out here. One of them could brush by the coast of North Carolina, and of course, that'll really increase our chance for rain. Right now, we're looking at some late day storms Thursday with a level 1 risk for severe weather. And then Friday looks wet for much of the day, and then rain on and off on Saturday and Sunday as well.